Hello, my name's Paul Thomas Edward Cusick. I'm an engineer by education. I do research in just about every field that universities teach in. I do a lot of medical research. I probably published about 500 papers in medical research. And as a sufferer of schizophrenia, I'm very interested in what causes schizophrenia. I've written a lot of papers about it, and I think this is the final paper that concludes what actually causes schizophrenia. So the title of the talk is called Cobalt, the Cause of Schizophrenia. So we begin. So in this brief talk, we show that schizophrenia is caused by the mineral cobalt, which is a constituent of vitamin B12. Cobalt is found in the Earth's crust with iron. That is why iron shows up as a possible cause of schizophrenia. I prepared a talk that showed that the the map of Britain indicated where the cases of schizophrenia occurred, and they occurred according to a geological map that I compared it to where iron was involved. So we'll see a little bit more about iron, ferrous chloride in a few slides. So this is why iron shows up as a possible cause of schizophrenia. It is the cobalt that does it, because cobalt is found in the Earth's crust with iron. And we know that the mothers with Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism, overactive thyroid, uh, I thought here thyroid, think iodine, they have children who are schizophrenic since cobalt reacts with ferric chloride. So in this paper, we show that schizophrenia is caused by the mineral cobalt, which is found in vitamin B12. The chemistry and calculations from astrotheology mathematics follow. Astrotheology mathematics is basically the solution to mathematics. It's how mathematics converges. And it's a very important tool in the toolbox of medical researchers now because it deals with energy, time, mass, and space, physics. And there's really nothing beyond energy, time, mass, and space in physics. So the developed four equations for that, and I won't get into that, but AT Math if you're interested, or you can Google astrotheology mathematics. So vitamin B12. We've linked the deficiency of vitamin B12 and Graves' disease with to schizophrenia. In this paper, we show that it is the cobalt in vitamin B12 that destroys the prefrontal cortex in patients with schizophrenia. It has been thought that the prefrontal lobe during childhood was responsible, but I think it's the cobalt in well water from areas high in ferric chloride and cobalt that caused the disease. So there's pruning that takes place in the brain, of course, the prefrontal lobe. And there's been a study done that shows that cobalt collects in the prefrontal lobe. So I suspect that it's the cobalt that's actually causing the schizophrenia in the prefrontal lobe rather than the over pruning, or the cobalt's causing the over pruning. So cobalt is found in the Earth's crust along with iron. We implicated iron as being a cause of schizophrenia, which I had just alluded to in the UK. It is, however, likely that cobalt in the ferric cobalt causes schizophrenia may result from neuropathy. Studies have been done on rats who consume cobalt. Traces of cobalt was found in their frontal lobes. So, just as an aside, cobalt is used in hip replacement surgeries, and cobalt builds up in their blood when people have the hip replacement. Studies have been done on 4 to 38 milligrams of cobalt in the blood. We'll see that 4 is an important number. So, fer ferrous chloride is FeCl2, that's iron and chlorine, plus cobalt yields cobalt chloride, COCl2 plus iron. Cobalt is found where iron chloride is found. It is the cobalt, not the iron, that causes the schizophrenia. More studies needed on that, though, to find the actual mechanism of what's happening when you have iron chloride and cobalt in your blood and in the cerebral spinal fluid, and what happens to the brain when that happens. That's an avenue for research that I won't be doing. I don't have the capacity for it. So anyway, there's some calculations. The frequency, uh, so our uh, cobalt is element number 27, which has 58.933 grams per mole multiplied by Avogadro's number gives 354.9 grams. The density of cobalt is 8.9 grams per centimeter cubed. Density is equal to mass over volume. So we put the density, plug in the numbers, 8.9 is equal to the mass, 354.9 divided by the volume. The volume is 39.88, approximately 40. So the frequency is the frequency of the human mind, which is 1 over pi, which is 31.8 hertz. So if we take that 39.88 that we just calculated in the previous slide and divide it by 125 milliliters of cerebral spinal fluid, we get 31.9, which is approximately equal to 1 over pi. And what's interesting about that is that this is the frequency of the human brain which is disturbed during acute psychoses. When you have schizophrenia and you're in an episode of psychoses, the actual frequency of your brain changes so that what you see looks like a flickering movie. Like when you see a movie, a theater, a projector, and the film's at the end, and it flips and flips and flips because the frequency is screwed up in the brain. And it's interesting that we see that come out here with cobalt. So Graves' disease, my mother had Graves' disease. She's still alive. She's in a nursing home. And Graves' disease reacts with iodine. Iodine, of course, you think thyroid. Thus, it is involved in Graves' disease, overactive thyroid. So the balanced chemical equation there is just simply cobalt plus iodine, I2, is equal to cobalt iodine 2. Um, we have the packing of the atoms. I'm not sure how much important this is, but the packing of the atoms, there's 17 atoms in a unit for cobalt. There's a layer of 7, then a layer of 3, and then a layer of 7. For a total of 17 cobalt atoms. So if we take the cobalt atoms 312.74 times the Avogadro's number, we get 1883.5, which is equal to 1 over 5, 30.888. And if we raise that to the power E, E is equal to e to the power 0.530888 is equal to 1.7. Maybe that's where the 17 comes from. I'm not sure. So let's see. We're nearing the end here. Bear with me. A few more numbers and we're done. So AT math, we have cobalt is equal to 58.93 grams per mole multiplied by the Avogadro's number. We get 354.93. We just saw that. We raise that to the power e to the power 0.35453. We have it's equal to 1.426, which is equal to a seventh. And a seventh is a critical number. It's the economic multiplier, but it applies all across the board. Just about every subject there is. And mass is equal to 1 over 81. We know from astrotheology, 1 over c to the fourth. 1 over 3 to the power 4 is 1 over 81. And 1 over 81 is an interesting number. Is it 0.01234567 So it's increasing at the rate of 1/7 times 7. And at the end, it jumps from 7 to 9 by 2. And that's the reason the economic multiplier works, and it's the reason that it's important. And we see it here with the cobalt. So we have a reaction that is self-sustaining. So the conclusion that I draw is that cobalt toxicity causes schizophrenia, and it comes from when you have iron ferric chloride, FeCl2, ferrous chloride. And so we see that cobalt is also in vitamin B12, and that should be also an area for study on schizophrenics. And it appears as if the cobalt is doing the pruning in the the prefrontal lobe. It does in rats anyway, but whether it happens in humans, that may be an avenue for research too. So some references. It's a reference. It's a website, and if you want to look up a little bit there, you might just Google my name and schizophrenia, and you'll see all kinds of different papers that have evolved over time. But I think this one is the final one for schizophrenia. So I hope we enter a new era with schizophrenia research. And I thank you for listening to my talk. And that is the end. Thank you.